Well, hello, and welcome to year number 2 of The Difference Makers. I'm your host, Jacqueline Grant, and it's a pleasure to be here with you on this very special day in this very special time of virtual events. We've been doing virtual events for some time now. We're all in these boxes communicating all around the country, all around the world. And how are we doing that? Through virtual events, virtual summits, and virtual meetings. And technology has changed quite a bit over the past 2+ years. And it's always changing, always evolving. And we have with us today our special guest, who is, in essence, a tech guru, who not only had an issue related to tech, but solved his own problem related to tech and virtual events and having his own virtual summit. Our guest today is Steve Eriksen. And Steve is the CEO of Event Raptor. And after struggling to find a good solution to help him run his own first virtual summit, Steve decided to create his own technology that he is now sharing with the world. Now, hundreds of speakers and event hosts use Event Raptor to run easier and more effective virtual events. So help me please bring to the virtual stage my guest for today, Steve Eriksen. Welcome, Steve. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. It's a pleasure to be here with you and your audience.
Well, we are waiting with bated breath to find out, especially those of us who might be tech challenged. We have so many options and opportunities out there to use various things for our virtual meetings and virtual events. Tell us how you are using your gifts in tech or your gifts and talents and abilities to be able to serve the world.
Okay, very happy to do that. So I have a lot of tech experience, as you mentioned, and I was using that for other companies and for other people to enhance what they were doing, both with in-person and with virtual events and virtual websites and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to go on my own and start doing coaching. And I was very much into client attraction coaching, and I wanted to have people really be able to increase the number of people that came into the pipeline, being able to convert them in from prospects into clients and everything. And I knew to be able to do that, I had to gain traction, and I had to run my own virtual event. I had to run a summit, because when you run a summit, you're on a stage with other speakers, with other authorities who people are looking up to. And then you automatically get some of that respect and that authority carried over to you. And you grow your list at the same time. But here's the thing, when I was going through this, it was challenging for me, and I'm very, very technical. And at the same time, I knew if my clients were going to try to do this, it would overwhelm them. There was no way most of my people couldn't do this themselves. And I'm very much a guy who say, if I can do it, then you can do it too. And this was one of those I couldn't really say to them, if I can do it, you can do it, because most of them wouldn't be able to, or it would cost them so much. You know, there are companies out there who will run a summit for you and they charge $10,000 just to set it up. Mm-hmm. And the financial risk of doing that is so vast that you can't really go to your clients who's struggling with money, who's struggling with getting clients, and saying, spend 10,000 and see whether you get somebody who will pay you 100. You know, that doesn't work. And at the same time, I created a system that other speakers and other hosts came to me and said, wow, that system worked really, really well. Can we use your system for our own events? And one day we just had an epiphany. And it really, I went to my family, to my wife and my son, who are both involved there in the business, and said, you know, what if we build a system where the most non-technical person we know would be able to run a summit on their own? And we did just that. In December, Anne, who's 72-year-old and is a retired teacher, had a summit on her own, and she had 13 speakers. She had 250 people to her list, and she got through it and she did it all. And I'm just like, wow, we achieved what we set out to do. So
that is awesome, awesome, awesome. And that's a tribute to you in finding a problem and not just saying, there's a problem, why doesn't somebody fix it? You fixed it. So congratulations on that standpoint. And tell us how, since December, it has been received in the marketplace.
Well, we started actually in June last year. It was December when Anne did her own event. And really, it's been received extremely well. we have a number of people who are running a summit for the first time. And we also have people who run events like this, summits and giveaways in the past. And they're all saying to us, we're saving a ton of money and we're saving a ton of time. You know, people used to spend 50, 100, 150 hours plus having VAs to help them set up the summit. When we set up our last summit in February, we spent less than 10 hours on the whole of the administration of that. You know, and we had one person who said, I used to spend $3,000 every time I did a summit or a giveaway on just the admin stuff. And I used to spend a ton of time. And she did it herself in record time and without any staff, and saved a lot of money. And that means so many more people can start doing summits. You know, anybody can do it now, whether you're just starting out. The only thing I tell people, the only thing you need to know is who you want to put in the room. If you don't know who
speaking of who I put in the room, I did a summit 2 years ago, and you were in my room. So Steve was a speaker for my summit, and that first summit. Now I'm a project manager. Some of you know that. So processes and procedures is my thing. But that first summit took me a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money to put it together. Now, when I did my second summit, it was shortened a bit because I had some experience on the first one, but I have seen your platform and you definitely will take the time factor down considerably. So tell us, Steve, when someone is considering doing a summit, who is that type of person? Is it just speakers and authors, or who else plays in that game?
I would say the people who should be playing in the game, which is maybe a little bit different to the people who are playing in the game. But really, I would say, if you need to establish your authority or increase your authority, if you want to be a leader amongst your tribe, right, you should do a summit. That is the only criteria really I have, and that you need to know who you're putting in the room. The worst thing you can do is to be so general, like anybody can come to my summit. You need to be extremely clear, because you want your target audience. You want the people who want to buy from you in the future. Those are the people you want in the room. And as long as you can figure out who do I want to put in the room, I would say do a summit. My first summit I did after 8 weeks in business. I had 100 people on my list, and I grew that by another 650 people. And from the 2 first summits I did, we generated $41,000. So it's quite a significant amount of money you can generate by starting out with a summit. We had one young girl, she was around 23, 24 years old. Last year, she did her summit and she had 25 people on the mailing list. And she added 800 people to her mailing list, and she did $10,000 in revenue directly from the summit. Awesome. Just by bringing these people in, by speaking herself at the summit and booking sessions with people afterwards to saying, what is your needs and how can I help you with your needs? She booked $10,000 worth of business. So,
I just want to recap what you said for our audience, because my particular audience here with the Difference Makers is a little bit varied in that we have corporate workers who are transitioning to entrepreneurship. We have those who are entrepreneurs in their own right, but we also have those who are still in the corporate world who are mid and upper level managers or decision makers for departments or companies, and they need to use summits as well. Let's think a little bit outside of the box. Steve, tell us how corporate people can utilize summits to share their authority, their knowledge, share their new market releases. How can we use this as a marketing tool?
Oh, it's fantastic as a marketing tool. You know, creating a summit and bringing in speakers who's teaching the audience about the problems that you are solving. That is really the key thing. But also when you come to the corporate market, you have a lot of the big corporates. They have internal speakers, they have internal events, they have seminars, they have workshops, they have conferences. And our system can be used for that as well. So you can do all of your internal coordination of your own staff who's going to be attending your meetings, your summits, your conferences within our system as well. But, you know, using it for your audience, for when in your marketing, I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely.
The key thing about using a summit is really that by having speakers who are respected in the audience, having speakers who are respected as speakers, it means a lot to your organization. If you don't want to introduce other speakers because it's competing against you, or you feel it's competing against the organization, which I never think it does, but some people do, then that internal use, I think, is very valuable.
So 2 things I'd like to bring up. Number 1, there may be those in the audience who thinks, well, I'm a small player, I'm just getting started, and if I have these well-known speakers, I'll look small and they'll look big, or maybe something along that line. I don't want to project anything on anyone, but how does having your own summit and having the authority of hosting a summit when you have known players as your speakers, what does that do for the growing entrepreneur? Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. It does tremendous things. So it is a psychological concept that whoever you associate with, we automatically transfer your feelings about the people you associate with to you. So when you're in front or you're with people we respect you for being able to be there, because we ourselves, we're not there. So when you're able to be next to that person, when you are the person introducing them on stage, you automatically get a better position in the market. So what happened to me after when I did my first summit was, and first of all, I'm totally introvert, and I was like a rabbit caught in headlights.
No.
Really. Yeah. And I was like, thank you very much, this speaker, and here's the next speaker kind of thing. But here's what happened. Afterwards, people started saying to me in networking meetings and other meetings where I met people saying, oh, I saw you at your summit. I really loved it. I thought you did some great things there. And you had these speakers, and I really enjoyed the speakers. And then people were starting to say really, really good things around me. There was a 3-day networking event I went to. And then somebody talked about something, and I said out something out loud, and suddenly all the comments was like, I saw Steve at the summit. He was great. He was fantastic. And I took screenshots of it and used it in my testimonial reel and things like that, because it's like, he was awesome. And I was like, wow, I never expected to have so much feedback after my first event. But I was totally unknown. That's the thing. I had been in business for 8 weeks.
It's a tremendous credibility builder. My number 2 item I wanted to ask you about is, I've seen your platform, and many people by now have heard of summits. Maybe you've attended a summit, or maybe you've just heard about these summits going on. What about meetings? Your platform helps those working with meetings. It doesn't have to be a large summit. It can be a meeting as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the key thing about meetings is you have meetings that are like one-on-one, where you're just meeting somebody else. We are not suited for that kind of meeting. We are suited for the kind of meeting where you want to have people register, and you want to be able to see who actually registered, who turned up at your meeting. When you're doing webinars, when you are sharing products, for instance, if you're creating a networking meeting, you just want people to gather. You want all of this information of who's actually going to come, how many people have you got lined up to come, how many people actually did come to the event, how long were they there for. That's all important information for you, because you use it in your marketing. You can send out emails to them saying, I saw you came to my meeting. Did you like it? Would you like to do more? Here's the $47 a month option kind of thing. We can use it in many, many different ways in that respect. And today, trying to put all of that together, you either use, like if you're using Zoom, because we don't do video, we integrate with platforms like Zoom. If you try to use the Zoom system, it's a little bit cumbersome. It doesn't have your branding on it. They send it out, the email reminders according to their schedule. There's very little flexibility, and it's difficult to get the data afterwards. With our system, it can be a beautiful landing page. It's a thank you page where you add it to your calendar. We have the ability to send out email reminders, not just before, but also afterwards of the event itself. And we just handle all of that technical complexity. So you just concentrate on your event, really. That's the main benefit.
Well, you read my mind, because I wanted to ask you next about what makes you different against your competitors. There are lots who have come onto the market since the pandemic related to technological services for Zoom-like meetings. So you've shared some of the features. What else can you share with us that makes Event Raptor different, and definitely something our audience should check out?
There's a couple of things I think stand out from us. One is that I'm not just a tech person, I'm also a business person, and I'm also a coach. So I use this myself. And every time I think, oh, I would like to do this in a better way, I would like to automate this. So this is manual work. I don't want to do the manual work. I put that into the platform. So, and that just makes it better for everybody. So that is one thing. And I'm always thinking about, how does this benefit me? How does this benefit the user, that's the host? And how does it benefit the attendee? So we all the way are trying to smooth the path. And there's a big events platform in the industry where if you're actually signing up for a meeting, about an hour before a meeting, you will try to scramble to find the link because they're not telling you what the link is. And it's so difficult to get into that meeting you want to attend to.
And we're like, when that is.
Yeah, so everybody knows who it is. So everybody struggle. And honestly, I have given up going to an event because I couldn't find the link I was supposed to be using. So, we have it everywhere on the landing page, sorry, not on landing, on the thank you page, on the emails that are going out. We make it very clear. We do add to calendar. If you're doing a summit, every single session, you can add it to a calendar and all of this. We try to make it easy. So that is one of the biggest benefits of our system. The second thing is a lot of these other competing systems are trying to do video, okay, because they think that's where the value is. And you're ending up with systems that some of them are locked to Chrome only, for example. You can't use them if you're in Safari. So it excludes a number of users who are using Macs and they don't want to use Chrome. And then I personally use Firefox all the time, and I have to go into Chrome to do it. And it's like so many problems and trying to select the right microphone and everything, and people get confused. And a lot of your users, a lot of your attendees are non-tech users, and they struggle with all of this. But here's the thing, Zoom works so well. Zoom is like, everybody's been using Zoom over the last 2 years. And when we talk to people who are presenting, speakers at summits, every time you go to a new platform, they are totally thrown off, and they totally like, can you show me like for half an hour to an hour how I'm going to do this? How do I do screen share and everything? If you say to them Zoom, they go, yeah, great, because they know how to use Zoom. Yeah. So what we do, we don't try to reinvent the wheel. Zoom works brilliantly. We handle the administration, and you can use Zoom because everybody knows how to use that. And we just work extremely well together with Zoom.
Well, again, filling another need in the marketplace for easy systems, easy, familiar items for us to do that we can just go step by step and have a totally great experience from beginning to end. So we're about to take a break, but when we come back, I'm going to ask Steve to share with us a few tips that he has for those who are doing their first summit, virtual event, virtual meeting, or even a team meeting. If you have your team members that are dispersed in different locations, you can have a very unique and special meeting where everyone will pay attention because the unique environment just grabs everyone's attention. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Steve Eriksen from Event Raptor, and he'll be sharing some tips with us and even a special gift we'll have for you when we return. So I want to share with you a little bit of an update for me on my journey. A few weeks ago, or you can look through the timeline and find our interview with Alex Knowles. He is a certified physical trainer as well as a certified bodybuilder, and he gave a special offer to our LinkedIn audience, our LinkedIn Live audience, to be able to do 22 days for $22. He's extended that so that anyone else who wants to join in can get a taste of working with him. And I've been working with him. I reported to you that the first week I worked out with him, I lost 5 pounds. I weighed in again this week. I'm sharing lots with you here, but you're my family, my LinkedIn family here, as well as on YouTube, as well as on Facebook. We're on all 3 platforms. This week I reported 8 pounds. 8 pounds. So I'm sharing all this juicy information with you to inspire you and let you know that the deal with Alex is still available. I will have his link if you're interested in the comments below this particular video so you can find his interview to get to know him a bit more. But we are going back now to our interview with Steve Eriksen. But I wanted to share that little tidbit with you. And if you'd like to join me on this journey, please see the comments below to find out how to get 22 days for $22 with Alex Knowles. So let's come back now to Steve Eriksen of Event Raptor. Steve, what tips do you have for, let's say, the person who's doing their first, whatever it may be, bigger meeting, summit, event? What tips do you have for us?
So the number one tip I would say is relax and be yourself.
That's a great one. That's one that most people don't give. That's a good one.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is you're going to be nervous. You are going to mess up in some shape or form. You're going to forget something. And when you just go to people and saying, yeah, I messed up, they're going to love you for it. Right? They're very forgiving, especially when you're saying, hey, look, it's my first time. And you know what? I got something wrong here. People only get really antsy about it if you are stressing about it, and if you're pretending like nothing is happening, and don't own it. If you own it and you just go like, yeah, absolutely, I should have done this better, and hey, look, I'm going to do it better next time, kind of thing. And it happened to me yesterday. I was going on a big webinar. There was a couple of hundred people on there, and we were using not Zoom, a different technology, and my camera would not show up in any shape or form. And I had to move a computer about 5 minutes before the event happened, and that computer was a Mac, and it didn't have the connection to share the screen and everything. And I was like off camera for the first minute, and we were just going like, apologies, things happen. You just have to take it in your stride and go with it. So that's
people are just more appreciative of being upfront and transparent, and especially again over the past 2 years, we've just become more understanding that this is life right now. This is life always. And if a cat and its tail walks across the screen, that's just life. If a baby happens to come in back of you and wants your attention, that's just life. So we understand that. And if we acknowledge that, as you say, it just makes us more real and builds the know, like, and trust factors that we need to be able to relate to, on a business level, to build those business relationships. So do you have any other tips for us, Steve?
Yes, the other tip is that the more you treat your audience as a family, the more you speak to them in a warm, friendly way, and don't try to be standoffish. You don't try to be like the person dictating to them and saying like, you need to be doing this and this and this, but actually saying, hey, look, I think you should be doing this, and I recommend this, and what do you guys think? If you're doing a virtual summit, do it in meeting mode. Don't do it in webinar mode. Webinar mode is so impersonal. This is when the audience can't see each other. They often can't chat to each other, and they don't get to build a community. And as humans, we want that connection. We want that social connection. So if you're doing a summit, when you're doing a meeting, and people are able to see each other on camera, they can put in the chat, they build a connection. And when they feel good because they build a connection, that good feeling is going to carry over to you as well. So I think that's very, very important. And in terms of when you're a corporate and when you're in business, it depends a little bit. If you're having a meeting that you're doing on a very regular basis, you might want to do things like more formalized and things like that. But again, if you're doing like a get together and things like that in a corporate setting, if you're doing like a department meeting and you've got 20, 30, 40, 50 people in the department, just be yourself. That is really the biggest thing. There's so many people, I think, who go wrong, who are trying to believe they're on stage and they have to perform as if they're on stage, and you don't, not in this setting. Here's the interesting thing with virtual. You're speaking on a one-on-one basis with everybody.
Yes.
Right? This is a lot of people are getting this wrong. So very early on in the pandemic, so this was back, I think it was May 2020, I went to a big event. And when I say big event, they had about 3,000, 5,000 people across multiple Zoom rooms. And the presenter had about 10 screens showing the attendees all around. And he was on the stage. So he was standing far back from the cameras, and he was talking to Mary here, and he was talking to the person there, and he was going over there, and he never looked at the camera, right? Here's the thing. I am looking at you right now, and I'm having a one-on-one conversation. The fact that I got 50 people on the screen, I'm still having that one-on-one conversation. Now, how do you deal with a one-on-one conversation? you do that very, very differently than if you're speaking on a stage to 500 people.
Mhm.
Right? When you're 500 people, even then you should stop and pick out people in the audience and look at them. But you don't get to look 500 people in the eye. When you are virtual, you're looking every one of those straight into their eyes, and you have that they feel connected to you. So use that, because if you're behaving like you're on a stage, you lose that connection.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm sure that you have many more very juicy nuggets and golden tips for us. But if you would like to know more, here is an event checklist that Steve has developed where you can get all the nuggets that you need to have your first, your next, or multiple events with greater success. It's important to be able to have a system and a strategy and a process. And this checklist will get you started running, up and running with great confidence, because now you have a system to work from. Steve, can you tell us a bit about this checklist?
Yes, so it's developed to tell you, it's one of those, if you don't know what you don't know, and this list is just making you informed about the choices that you can make. How does the format of your event should be? What kind of systems are you using? Have you checked your lighting? Have you remember to send out your the emails with the timing? Has everybody got the link? There are many moving parts, and this checklist really reminds you. So even there are a number of them where you might just go, I don't want to do that, and that's fine. But at least you're aware that you can do it, and a lot of people choose to include it. And I have people who run events, and they say to me all the time, I went back to your checklist and I realized I had forgotten this and this and this step. And so thank you for the checklist. It was so valuable for me. And that's really what it's for, just to remind you of what you need to do, should do, can do for your virtual events. And that doesn't matter whether it's a meeting or a summit, it's still applicable.
Great. And even if you utilize virtual assistants or any other type of physical help putting on your event, this can be shared with them as well. And that way you have multiple people making sure all your checks and balances are in place. So this is a very valuable checklist that Steve is providing. And all you have to do is go to bit.ly Steve's virtual event checklist. It is case sensitive, so each word is capitalized, but it is Steve's virtual event checklist, and you'll get that delivered right to you. And he also has another special gift. He's full of gifts today. He also has a speaker directory. If you are a speaker or would like to be a speaker or would like to be able to find speakers for your event, this is the directory for you. If you go to bit.ly Steve's speaker directory, you'll be able to explore events that are coming up that maybe you're a great fit for. Maybe you would like to speak on a particular event that you see there, or maybe you'd like to host your own event and list it there and have others to say, I'd like to be on your summit. I'd like to be a part of your event. I have an expertise in this particular area that I think would be a great fit for your audience. This is an opportunity for you to be able to get great exposure, to be able to share your authority and expertise with the world. Tremendous networking opportunities here with others who are doing similar types of events, and where you can network and share your resources, share your ideas, and grow your business. Isn't that what it's all about? Whether you are, again, on the corporate side or already an entrepreneur or somewhere in between, you can utilize events, meetings, summits, the speaker directory, and the wonderful checklist to be able to make sure your event has greater success. So I'd like to thank Steve Eriksen of Event Raptor for being our guest today on The Difference Makers. It's been a pleasure. Again, we will have all of the show notes below the video. Once it has come on a replay, it will all be there for you to be able to make sure that you get those links and get those resources that we have shared with you today. So Steve, thank you so much for being a difference makers, because you make a difference to all of us. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jacqueline. It's been an absolute pleasure being here with you.
Thank you.